Hello, everyone. Good evening, and welcome to another episode of Living with a Disability. So, today we're going to talk about my first experience with AccessARide. And for my people who are in other parts of the world and they're not sure what AccessARide is transportation for injured people and people with disabilities. Okay? So, let me start at the beginning. My pickup time was supposed to be at 9 o'clock. I was going to an event at 11. Probably would take me an hour, a little over an hour to get there. An hour, I would think, on a good day. So I'm like, let me schedule it for 2 hours ahead. So in case they're an hour late, I'll still be on time. You understand? Okay. So I'm waiting. I have to take there's no pickup point close to where I live. So I have to take a bus, which takes about half an hour or 40 minutes to get me to where the pickup point is. I have to walk to the bus stop, which takes about 15 minutes. Okay. I'm walking with a cane. It's cold. I get to the bus stop. And the bus was a few minutes late, whatever. I get on the bus. I get off on, before the scheduled time, still because I left earlier than what the time would be. So if I was supposed to get there at 9 o'clock and there was an 8 o'clock bus and the bus takes half an hour, that's what I did. So I could be there ahead of the driver. Okay. Okay, so even though I was probably 5, 6 minutes late, I'm still ahead of time. Okay. So I'm there. There's a pickup point at a corner at an intersection. And they made it a point to let you know that you have to be at the pickup point, because if the driver's coming, depending on how he's driving, he can't come away from that intersection to pick you up somewhere else, to be at the corner on time. So when the driver, makes his turn around the corner or whatever, you're already there. Cool. So I'm there. I'm looking at the time. 20 minutes, no driver. 30 minutes, no driver. 40 minutes, no driver. I say, okay, maybe he's caught in traffic or whatever. Guess I'm too understanding. An hour goes by, no driver. I proceed to call the company. Then I'm informed that the driver's on his way. Basically, don't panic. The driver's on his way. And, some lame story I don't recall. But, Hardy Boys, Nancy Drew, some kind of story. Okay, that coming, it was over. Hour and a half goes by. Check back, what's the status of the driver? He's probably half an hour away from you. Another story she proceeds to give me. Okay, whatever. The driver gets there. It's 2 hours after the time. The driver came. He was very pleasant. He explained the situation to me. I realized it's not his fault. Come to find out, they overbooked this one driver and he was supposed to be in 3 locations at the same time, which is impossible because none of them are close to each other. Okay? So, okay. I get into the car. He has to pick up 2 other people. Okay, cool. He drops one person off. There's 2 of us left in the car. We're on a highway. I'm in the back seat on the left. I'm feeling this vibration. But with all the traffic and the noise, I can't tell what it is, but I'm feeling like a bump sort of a feeling. So I'm thinking, am I tripping here? I didn't take any medication to stand sometime to have me a little out of the loop. So I'm like, what is that? So, as the traffic slows down, I said, driver, when you get a minute, could you pull over and check something? I'm feeling a vibration. And, as the traffic begins to, space out and you don't hear so much of the traffic sounds, I'm hearing like a little pinging sound. So he says, okay, sure. As soon as I get a chance, I'll pull over. When he pulls over, this is what he sees. He says, oh my God. So we're like, what happened? So then, the other lady said, let me come out the car and see what's going on. She comes out. She takes pictures, whatever. The driver proceeds to call the company and explain the situation to them. He puts the phone on speaker. Same lady, she's on the phone. She's rude. Her temper is short. And she proceeds to tell him that he should continue to drive his car in this condition. Now, mind you, he still has an hour and something to take me where I'm going. I'm not sure how long it would take the other lady to get to for him to drop her off, but he was dropping me first. He was like, "Ma'am, there's no way I could drive this car in this condition. This is about to fall apart on me." Whatever. She, had no compassion whatsoever. So then, that's why I always say be careful, be mindful of how you carry yourself, because you never know who you're in the midst of. As simple as the other lady looked, she was in a position of power. So she asked the driver if she could please get on the phone with the lady. I forgot what you call them. Anyway, you know what I mean.
The dispatcher.
So she proceeds to tell the lady, that whatever office she works for and whatever violation this is and so on. And, if she doesn't send a replacement car or whatever, what she's willing to do. And she would also be contacting the media and letting them know about the situation, because, can't remember word for word verbatim, but, more or less this is unacceptable and, poor management, whatever. So with that, now the lady decides, okay, ma'am, could you give me a little time? Let me call you back. Let me see what I could do, whatever. And then she contacts back the driver and lets him know she's sending a tow truck and a replacement car and whatever like that. So we get the replacement car. I get to the event. There was 1 hour left because, as I said, I was supposed to be picked up at 9 o'clock. The event was at 11. I got there. I think it was between 2 and 3. But either which way, the event lasted 1 hour or 45 minutes to the time I got there to the time I left. Before I leave, I have to call back the company to because I scheduled for another driver to pick me up, because the same driver, chances are you're not going to get. He's already gone on other trips. So you get another driver that's coming that way to get you. That driver probably was half an hour late, whatever. It's cold outside. You're there. Oh, what I didn't say about the first part is you're standing out in the cold. And, in the first instance, as I said, you're standing there for like 2 hours in the cold, because they made it a point to let you know that the driver, depending on what direction he's coming from and he's meeting you at the intersection, try not to stray away from there, because when he comes, if he's in traffic, he just wants to pick you up and keep it moving. You know what I mean? So if you're away from the corner, then the driver will contact the company. Then the company will contact you to ask you where you are. And then there'll be, cars blowing their horn behind the driver, whatever. So try to stay in place. So I'm in place for like 2 hours. My leg is killing me. My back is hurting me. Whatever. I'm annoyed. But, we made it work. Okay. So, as I said, the second driver picked me up half an hour late. He was nice. There were no pleasantries exchanged other than me saying good afternoon, whatever. So I proceed to put my music in my ear, listen to my Buju Banton and calm my nerves. Okay?
Please.
And then I get out of the car. Lucky for me, I had change in my pocket from the first trip, because I didn't realize until I got home later that night, after I calmed down and everything, and relaxed myself, and I remembered I had an appointment the next day and I wasn't going with the same bag. So I switched handbags. And at this point, I'm like, something is missing here. And so my wallet is missing. Oh my God, what am I to do? Lucky for me, I got the driver's direct number. So I proceed to call the driver and explain to him if he could check the car and see if he found a wallet. And he said, yes, he did. When he picked up his other passenger, they told him they found a wallet in the back. Now, thank God, there's still some honest people left in the world, because between the driver and the passenger, either one of them could have, taken my wallet and say they didn't see it. Okay, so the driver tells me he's not coming back to my pickup point, and if there's any way I could get anyone else to, get the wallet from him. I'm sitting here thinking, sometimes your brain just slows down and it has a freeze. And after a few minutes, I caught myself and I was like, wait a minute. My sister lives in Brooklyn. Duh. So I called my sister, explained the situation to her. And then I gave her the driver's number. And then I called back the driver and said, well, I give my sister your number. So if you see a number, strange number coming in, chances are it's my sister. So my sister calls the driver, and luckily he wasn't far away from where she was, and they did the exchange, and that was good. She called me back, let me know she got the wallet, whatever, and I got it from her some, I don't know, days later, whatever. And thank God everything was intact. And so going was one dilemma. Coming back, the driver was a little late, but not that late, and he wasn't very pleasant, but we made it work. But then the wallet situation. So I'm like, oh my God, this AccessARide thing really, I've heard about it before, but it was few and far between. From each person I heard about it had an experience here or there. So I'm like, okay, if you use them, how many times you had one experience? But then, somebody told me after the fact that they had many experience of drivers not being on time, which is not a good thing, because the whole purpose of this service is for people with injuries and disabilities. They don't have to go on public transportation, and especially if you have to take the train and you have to walk up steps and down steps and cross platforms and all this sort of madness, you know what I mean? And then on top of which, if you have certain episodes like I do, and people who have seizures and stuff like that, because of the service, the driver would already be aware, the company is aware of what your are and what your injuries are, because to get the service you have to take all these doctors paperwork, and then you would have to be approved to get the service, so they know what they're dealing with. So if I should have an episode in the car, the driver would be aware that I get these episodes, and then the other lady had a brain aneurysm, so if she should pass out in the car or whatever, he knows what he's dealing with, and then he would know what to do. Then you going on public transportation, you're on a bus and something happens to you, the driver, you know what I mean? Driver wouldn't be that equipped to know exactly what they're dealing with. They would call an ambulance, but then nobody will know what they're dealing with. Whereas in this situation, they would check your paperwork. The driver will contact the company and they would say, well, this is what her notes say. So this is what, how long it probably takes for her to get out of it. Not to worry, it's not, you don't have to take her to the hospital, whatever like that. So it's defeating the purpose if the driver is never on time and you're waiting forever. And the when you call the company, the lady's rude, and sick people you're dealing with. So you being rude and short doesn't make sense to me. But you know, I got through the dilemma, and I'm just here to say, if you're considering getting AccessARide, I'm not gonna knock it completely. There's times it works, and there's times it don't. There's another story I have for you, but I'll do that another day. On another day. But I just want to inform you, in case you plan to get the service, be prepared. Have a backup plan. Make sure you have money on you in case something like this happens, and you don't have the patience to wait on a second car. Just for you to know that it's hard out here in these disabled streets. Okay. Have a pleasant evening. Hope you all got home safe from work, having a nice dinner. See you in the next video. If you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe, like, comment, share if you already have. Thanks a lot. Love you guys. See you in the next video. Smooches.